Hello and welcome to the OCVarsity Gridiron Show from Edison, and this is week 3. I'm your host Jonathan Khamis, being joined by Steve Fryer this away. Hello. And Dan Albano that away. Now, before we get to Edison, we are going to talk about our stars of week 2, and I'll go ahead and go with Kenneth CARR of TUSTIN. He had over 300 plus yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. Steve, who do you got this week? I'm thinking it's a big quarterback out of Corona Del Mar, perhaps?
Big, 6'3", 210 pounds, going to Cal, Chase GARBERS. Threw for 300 plus yards, 4 touchdown passes, ran for 2 touchdowns. He's already thrown for 700 yards, 6 touchdowns, 0 INTs. Having a great year.
You're the quarterback, perhaps, but Dan, we like to hit you up with a defensive guy. Who is it this week?
It is J.J. Glass, who is going to take on these Chargers. He is the nose guard for San Juan Hills, senior. JJ had 4 sacks, 6 tackles for loss, and a very impressive victory against rival Capistrano Valley. So San Juan Hills, nose guard. He's got a great matchup this week against Mike SAFFELL.
All right, yes. Speaking of that game, as we segue into our game of the week, it is 3-0 Edison visiting 3-0 San Juan Hills. To my knowledge, guys, this is the first time these two teams have played each other. Now, the Chargers beat Canyon 38-19 last week. They actually have Mater Dei. Next week, San Juan Hills beat Capo 17-10. The go-ahead touchdown made by Cole Sushek midway through the 4th quarter. Steve, San Juan Hills has really been coming up the last couple years and even making the top 10 last year. Yeah. Edison's perennially there. Last year for Dave White. What's your take on this game?
There's so much competition down there for the high school football athlete, or any athlete really, because you got so many really high-level athletic programs down there. San Juan Hills, Tesoro, the private, Mission Viejo, San Clemente, on and on. Don't want to miss anybody. But, then you got the private schools, with J. Sarah, Santa Margarita. My golly, there's so many really good options for an 8th grader or a kid who wants to transfer, something like that. So for you to take, get any sort of run of success going, that's pretty good. Good job, Aaron Flowers and the San Juan Hills guys, for keeping that thing going this year.
Do you think Edison wins?
I'd say Edison's slight favorite. I mean, how do I feel about Edison? I actually rank him 3rd in Orange County right now. Ooh. I got him above a bunch of people, and their stock went up when they were so impressive against Tesoro, and then Tesoro comes out and does a good job against La Habra. Yeah. So I love this matchup between the center, Mike SAFFELL. Edison is having a super year. Just check out his huddle. And then J.J. Glass is a nose guard. These guys are going to have a great battle. And then you got to watch the receivers in this game, because you got 2 good ones at San Juan Hills, Jacob Huff and Caden McCloskey. And then you got 2 good receivers here in Shaun Colamonico and E.J. Guinness. So a lot of good receivers out there. And then you got this, lineman competition. So it's going to be good.
Yeah, I think so. We caught up with Edison earlier to hear what they had to say about this game against San Juan Hills. Let's throw it to the Chargers.
I'm trying to enjoy it. I'm trying to soak it all in and just, the journey. And but I'm still competitive, and I'm always perfectionist. I want to get better myself as a coach and our team. So probably not doing as good enough job as I should.
We got to leave Coach White with a big bang out there. We're really motivated. He's pushing us really hard this year, harder than we actually ever worked. And I think it's really been motivating us to begin, and that's why we are 3-0 right now, and hopefully 4-0.
Well, I think the big thing about Edison offensive line is just being nasty all the time, being intense. Like Coach White says, 80% of it is just going hard. So I think that's what we are. I think we're very in shape. We're very quick.
Next game to talk about, guys, we're going to have 2-1 Los Alamitos visiting 1-2 La Habra. You were there last week, Dan. The Highlanders losing to Mission Viejo 32-14. The Diablos just ran all over them, scoring 5 touchdowns. So I want to talk to you first about La Habra. I've seen Los Alamitos play. I think they're pretty good. But what do you think about this game, Dan?
Well, and Fryer saw La Habra the previous week against Tesoro. I think La Habra is really good in several spots. Madison Wheeler at safety. They're both, Carrasco and Rivas at linebacker. The biggest thing for La Habra is that they're not running the ball. They had a really hard time to run it against Mission Viejo, and for them to get back on the winning track against another physical front, that's what the strength of Los Alamitos' team is, that defensive line, Noble, their linebackers, Johnson, etc. is the strength. You know, La Habra's got to run the ball.
Yeah, they absolutely do. Steve, you've seen La Habra before. Los Alamitos, they're kind of a second-half team, scoring 22 points in the second half to beat Lakewood last week. What is it going to take for either team to get the W?
Well, I think what Dan was saying about running the ball with La Habra is pretty adequate, pretty accurate. You know what they did was they ran Wheeler a lot more this past game, whereas they just gave him the ball a couple times in run situations when I saw him play Tesoro. So it's obviously trying to establish the run because quarterback is still like coalescing over there. You know, they had to replace a great kid in Eric Berry. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Los Al does in this game. I think what they have to do is I think they have to force, you know, La Habra to run the ball, throw the ball, and you know, stop that run game and make sure that they have to toss them because they're really not strong when they got to throw that football.
All right, guys, finally, last game to talk about. We have Servite visiting Villa Park. This game will be played at El Medina High School. Guys, last week I was there. The Friars nearly making the upset of the year, almost taking De La Salle, but the Servite lost 28-27. Meanwhile, Villa Park beating Cabrillo of Long Beach 42-26. Nick Sipe, you know, he's really, really good, guys. 284 yards passing and 3 scores. Dan, your take?
I've had my eye on this game for a long time because of the quarterback matchup. You can't get much better here with Nick Sipe from Villa Park, Purdue commit, taking on Tyler Lytle, Colorado commit. 2 excellent quarterbacks. And then you just throw in, let's throw in Johnny Stamos as well for good measure. You know he's going to have an impact for Villa Park. So this is a really interesting game. Trinity League people will be, again, watching this one very closely, and so will a lot of people in Villa Park's division.
You know, I was so impressed with Servite, as I said before. After the game, there was no feeling of disappointment because they almost beat De La Salle, and it seemed like they knew they were on the right track to get better. Steve, I know I saw your tweet that you said, wow, after the final score, because De La Salle always finds a way to win. But do you think Servite's on the right track?
Yeah, I think so. And certainly if I'm Villa Park, I don't want to play Servite after that game because Servite's got to be kind of a little bit ticked off that they had that thing in hand and they lost it. Sometimes after a game like that, you want to take it out on somebody. Villa Park is standing right there. But for Villa Park, this is an opportunity to really make a statement. This is a statement opportunity for Villa Park. Villa Park's always done well, you know, in that league, Crestview League, playing teams of its ilk. Now, this is a time when they kind of step up, play somebody that's always in that top 10, always in that top 10. We always kind of wonder, where is Villa Park? Are they really like legit top 10? How would they be if they played this school or that school or that school or this school? Now, here they are playing one of those schools.
All right, well, that's going to do it for the Gridiron Show today. Thanks again to Edison for hosting us. I'm your host, Jonathan Khamis. That's Steve Fryer. That's Dan Albano. And for all your latest football updates, make sure to check out OCVarsity.com, where we've got you covered.